So yeah, I just picked this up. Hey, welcome to Tech Jungle. Here you can find news, reviews, and up-to-date information on all the wonderful technology existing in our beautiful world today. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button below and let's get started. So I've been a laptop user for about the past 10 years. During that time, I basically had about 3 or 4 laptops. The most recently was an HP Omen I got about 2 years ago. I think it came out in 2015. I don't know the exact model number, but basically I was purchasing laptops because they're so portable. I wasn't really using it for content creation per se, but I really wasn't making anything that was graphic intensive. So now that I'm working on this YouTube channel, I want to make sure that I have something that has enough power in it and allows me to upgrade it year after year, at least for the next few years. So I sold the laptop that I had and went to Best Buy and put that money down on this right here, which is the HP Omen. I believe this particular model is the 870-244. And let's go ahead and take a look at it further. Just to give you kind of a quick summary, I like this desktop. I think it's great. There are some issues that I have, not mainly issues, but just some gripes that I have about this particular laptop and some things that I like as well. So let's dive into it and take a look at what we got. All right, so let's go ahead and just open up the case here. It's pretty simple, you just got that one screw. Pulling it open now, you see that we have the GeForce GTX 1070 card. It has 8 gigabytes of DDR5 memory. Up top, you have the Intel Core i7-7700 chipset. You have 16 gigabytes of DDR4 SD RAM at 2133 megahertz. And then they give you a 1 terabyte hard drive that clocks in at 7200 RPM. On the back here, you have 4 USB 2.0 ports, 2 HDMI ports, and 2 USB 3.0 ports. The 1070 also gives you 1 HDMI port, 1 DVI port, and 3 display ports. At the top of the case, doing a close-up, we have 2 USB 3.0 ports, 2 USB 2.0 ports, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and an SD card reader. At the front of the tower, I was surprised to see that HP included a DVD drive. This one in particular has transfer rates up to 10 megabytes per second. A kind of neat feature with this case is that HP provides this LED strip on the front faux aluminum panel, and you have a couple of options here. You can have a single color, you have a CPU temperature, a CPU usage, and if you're just not into this thing altogether, you do have the option to turn it off completely. Here are my results using 3D Mark 11 Basic Edition. As you can see, it scores pretty high as a gaming PC. And for me personally, I'm not using this to play too many games out there, but if I did want to, I can play all of the current games that are out with no problems, probably at a high resolution, if not ultra high. I was using the 3D Mark 11 Basic Edition, so it was capturing at 720p. Most likely the results may vary running it at 1080p or 4K. And here are my settings for Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't play a lot of games, but I do love Grand Theft Auto 5. And this is running at 1080p at 144 hertz. I was using one of the display ports in the back of the desktop. I have a 144 hertz monitor, so the graphics card performs pretty well. Granted, it is almost a 2-year-old graphics card, so you can't really run everything on max settings and get peak performance. However, it does the job, and that's all I needed to do. And like I said, I don't play a lot of games, but Grand Theft Auto for me performed well. Okay, so as this is playing, let me go ahead and just kind of lay out a couple of gripes I had. Okay, so my first gripe is how it only includes a 1 terabyte standard hard disk drive. I wish HP would have included at least 128 gig solid state drive, at least for the operating system and some of the applications that I use. So what I've done to compensate with that, I haven't installed an SSD in there. I had an external Samsung T3 500 gig SSD, and what I've done is I've used that with one of the USB 3.0 ports, and it boots up fast and the applications run fast, and I have this particular game on there as well, so it works well. I think if you're going to get this desktop, you really want to look at getting an SSD for your operating system and most of your applications so they boot up super snappy. Another small issue that I have is the RAM frequency. You're stuck at 2100 megahertz, which isn't a big deal right now, but if you want to future-proof this machine, let's say in 2 or 3 years, you're not going to be able to do that because of the restrictions on the motherboard. You have 16 gigs of RAM out the box, and you can upgrade to 64 gigs in the future, but the actual frequency of that RAM is set to 2100 megahertz. So if that's a big deal for you, you may want to look elsewhere, but for me, it's not that big of a deal at the particular moment. And so honestly, those are my only two gripes with this desktop. I think HP made a great machine. It performs well. The GTX 1070, it does allow me to get a lot of things done when I'm editing 4K content, when I'm playing small games like GTA 5. I think it's worth the purchase. And this really all comes down to the current rate of GPUs and RAM. Because of cryptocurrency mining, you can't really build a quality desktop without breaking the bank, at least at this particular moment. So for me, this desktop is a win. I would recommend it. If you go to Best Buy, take a look at it, pick it up. You have 14 days to try it out. If you don't like it, you can always return it. I'm not endorsed by HP. I just think this is a well-built machine, and I think you'll get your money's worth. So give it a shot. And drop a comment below, especially if you're interested in this particular desktop or you've been using it for a while. I'd like to know your thoughts about it. And as always, I appreciate y'all watching. Please hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.